And I'm live. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday. For those that are tuning in today, please do let me know where you're watching from. And if you've had any insights or anything to share from the last few videos, my whole experience at the moment is shifting. And a lot of people say they're feeling the shift take place and they're feeling like 5D and all these words. I didn't understand it still. I thought I was quite aware of the spiritual stuff and the teachings and what to look out for. It's the perspective. It's viewing life differently is now making more sense for me. And yeah, it's just a whole new approach. Like there's a whole new burst of energy and it's really simple. So my intention for today was to combine the meditation and how all of this comes back to the meditation. That's the gateway into the inner temple where we're going to go tonight. And then the dimensions of the soul. So until recently, the dimensions really make sense as putting them into words. Whereas before it was just words trying to make sense of it, kind of making sense. Yeah, it's the soul, which is the experience first. And all you have to do is go to the start and then work your way down. So welcome anyway. Charlotte from NC, welcome. Thank you.
And I'm live.
Thank you for being on here today. A question to people watching: who meditates? Who gets themselves into flow? What sort of things work for you? What sort of experiences are you having? Any limitations? Give me a tiny bit on there. So this is for anyone today. I'm going to talk about meditation and I'm going to show you how much it's changed my life, my excitement that I get out of it, and also where it's about to take us. Is without this, we don't get this full experience. We're stuck in 3D. It's allowing us to go through past the mind and any ideas, any preconceived stories, any limitations that we put on ourselves. We get through all that. And then you'll start seeing it takes you in a completely new direction. I had the most amazing meditation last night after a brilliant Chinese energy session. Love that, Claire. That'll be cool. And again, all these energy healing and all these different forms of modality, it's ways that we're connecting. It's ways that we're able to connect with ourselves within. And it's then having people that we can trust the same space for them to provide their own interpretation, their meaning, their understanding. And again, it's pointing us in the right direction. Hi, Cherry. Hi, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. So the meditations, I'm going to go through it in today as a soul journey. So the root of the soul. And I'm going to use Canva, which is where I create some of my images, to show you how my mind works. And for me, it's the visual aspect with the words and then the explanation backed with maybe an experience or something that I observed will make more sense for everyone then. We overcomplicate things for explanations. We use overcomplicated words for a simple explanation. We have people that completely change who they are delivering these messages, especially when it comes to spirituality. And we're never going to find God when we make it more complicated. It's like we evolve, things get more like a heightened state, more excitement, more magic. And it feels like we're trying to then add the additional words, the more descriptive words to explain it all, when it really is even more simple. So let me just give you an example of how my mind works. So I journal pretty much every day now. And the things that come up for me in my meditations is quite difficult for me to put into words. So I can't even do that. That's not even going to work. Let me see if I can remove this. background. 2 seconds, people. And I realized as well, so when it comes to art and drawing and doodling and all this stuff as a kid growing up, I always said it wasn't really my skill, wasn't something I enjoyed doing. And when you see certain people draw and they make stuff, it's like, how have they come up with that idea? When you start tapping in, and that's God's space. So when you're in that creative space, when you're in flow and you're doing it because you love doing it, you're doing it because it takes you out of the moment. At the time, it doesn't make sense. It's just naturally coming out of you. That's all God's creation. So all these different things popping out of me now, if you was to say 5 years ago, would you be doing this sort of stuff? No chance. It wouldn't have even been something I'd recommend to write down. Let me how I can change this background. Share screen. No. So I'll blur my background. There you go. Right. So I have things like this. And then so this is all the last day. And this is what we're going to be discussing today. Which is almost, my meditations is just like series of images, and it kind of, it makes a lot of sense when I'm in there. And it's almost like when I come out, I want to try to put this into words. I want to try to get an understanding of it. And then my intention is to, why I should remember is to be able to share this on, as I know it's wisdom. And it's not just wisdom, which I'm realizing now as well. It's not just education. All of this and everything that you experience in your life will have some sort of relevance for you in your life. If you come across something and you don't like the sound of it, it doesn't make sense. If you come across it, though, it's come to you for a reason. And the more you keep putting the resistance up, the more you ignore it, the more you blame about it and complain about it, it's going to keep coming back to you. So all I suggest is take the resistance off, let it go if you have to, knowing it will come back and it will make sense. The more you can create your mind, the more that when these things pop into your lap, which I'm going to explain what that means a bit later on, you're going to see, oh, that's why. So I realize now this whole journey, this human experience, this whole journey as the soul beyond the human experience, every conversation, every person we've met, every incident, everything will connect back up at some point. So hold on to that as a thought, because that all of a sudden is really the way that I view my past now. Is something will happen now. I'm walking down, I go, oh, that's why that happened back then. And it'd be a moment that I don't think about. It just popped up cycling up a big hill when I was younger, playing run-outs with my mates. Like, it would just pop up. Again, it doesn't make sense back then. It happened, forgot. All of a sudden I found my connecting dot. So cause and effect is throughout our whole lifetime too. So the more we start turning up as our soul, our love, truth, that's all that comes out then. And you'll see within that love is understanding about your whole journey. So let's go into a share screen today. So meditation, first of all, anyone watching? What comes up for you when you're meditating? Why should we be meditating? What's the purpose of meditation? Why would it be good for me? I'm too busy to do meditation. My mind doesn't quiet down. I've got too many thoughts going on. How many people share all those restrictions to meditation? So I know there's a lot of people would switch this off if they heard it was about meditation. And a lot of people on the other side would go, oh, it's about God. I want to watch that. I'm not interested in that. And we get caught up watching all these other things, get caught up doing things that we don't enjoy, get caught up being places where we don't want to be. And all of this could be changed if we just then went straight into meditation, all of it. And it's same on the healing side. Some people say, oh, I'm really struggling at the moment. I've been depressed for a little while. I've got demons and I've got my vices, and meditate. Yeah, but just meditate. And the reason why people don't do it, one, they don't understand what that means. And it doesn't feel like you're doing anything. You'd have to pay anything. You'd have to go anywhere. No, it's too easy. It's too simple. That can't be. So my realization over the last few weeks and months is that people want the chaos and drama in their life. And I feel if we looked on an even deeper level, people need the chaos and drama in their life because it's teachings. It's almost like, you shouldn't be doing it, but I want to find out what happens if it did. Okay, now I've learned my lesson again. Now I'm definitely not going to do it. We've had moments like that. We have moments where you look back and go, I shouldn't have gone. Everything about it, I shouldn't have gone. Didn't trust him, didn't feel right. I've got all delays on the way there. I shouldn't have gone. There's something still at the end, so just go. So people say, oh, I keep making the same mistakes, or I end up dating the same sort of person, or I keep feeling the same experience. And it's not the same experience. Some of it might hurt more. Some of it might be more controversial. Some of it might be more draining, and you give it all the word guilt or hate or blame. And then you get back round to guilt again. And it's like, oh, you're doing the same thing again. No, you're not. You're learning every time. The series of events of guilt, you get so good to a point that one day, even though it feels like a lifetime away, you just will accept it. Oh, I know now. Meditation is my new superpower. Amazing. Amaze that too. Because it gives me so much inner peace, contentment. As you know, my life has changed so much. Love life. It's beautiful. Love that, Cherry. And can I ask as well, what short space of time? Because I know if we look at the grand scheme of things, how long have you been doing it for? Same for you, Nancy. So meditation is my superpower. And for people watching as well, how easy and simple is it to do once you get over just that first initial? For me, it's the most simple thing. And again, my meditations that I put out there are so different to meditations. That's another thing as well. I encourage people, regardless of what breath work, what meditation, what courses you've been on, what gurus you met, forget all that. You've never met me before. You've never got to experience these ones. Come and at least have a go, because they're very different. 10 months, amazing, right? And imagine that 12 months ago, we said, look, in 10 months' time, you're going to now feel like this. These things, these insights, these understand. Would you have taken that? If I was then to zoom out and to say that if you had awareness of these and you knew what it did to you back then, 20 years ago, would you be doing it back then? And how different would your life would have been if you'd have had that? So the one thing that I continue to say to people, like I will keep putting this stuff out, meditations, because it changes lives. Anyone that's struggling at any point, stress, anxiety, depression, loss, guilt, blame, hate, anything, meditation helps. I started with yours meditations maybe 6 months, amazing, half a year, and people, how quickly are the years going at the moment? And in that short amount of time, what else has changed for you? Like, yeah, I feel better. Yeah, it's my superpower. What else are you noticing? It's about yourself. There's so much more awareness. There's a connection now with feelings. There's this knowing that you can stand on the feelings and make decisions just based on the feelings. It does change your life. I love that. And what the meditations, 50 minutes, 45 minutes. If people could negotiate and say, look, all you have to do is invest 45 minutes a day, which sounds a lot if you're comparing it to your current life. As soon as you start getting into that flow, you'll find more time anyway for all the other things. And in that 45 minutes, it's not just calming yourself down. It's bringing clarity. It's getting decisions made. It's finding the next path to take. It's getting answers to questions. Like, all of that pops up. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense. It just feels amazing. And then a few days later, something will come up in your life and you go, oh, that's why. I found yours about 3 months ago, and I find them to be very helpful. Amazing, Sandra. Thank you for sharing. Also, the Revive program has changed my life. Love that, Cherry. Much more awareness. I love it. And it's the same thing, people. It's nothing special. It's simple. It's powerful. Go beyond me. If you just do it once a day, just listen to it with your eyes closed, hear the words, treat it as a meditation, life changes. Like, as a guarantee, as a knowing, life changes. If you commit 25 minutes a day for yourself, 45 minutes on a meditation, like, life changes. If you document it, I know for a fact within about 11 days, everything changes for you. Things start clicking. Are you perfect and perfection? Then no. In fact, you learn all the different things about yourself that you go, actually, I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. I want to improve on that one. I'm going to let that go now. That doesn't make any more sense for me to do that. You make decisions, and none of them are hard to make. They're knowings, they're soul slaps, they're insights. Again, it's words that I'm only saying at the moment. So it's hard to kind of comprehend if you've yet to have that experience. The one thing I do know is everyone watching here has had moments in their life where you've had this little spark, where you do something that lights you up, where you have a passion for something, where you've had a moment and you look back and go, whoa, that was amazing. Remember that time? We've all had those. That's God, people. All of those moments is God. Why? Because that feeling inside you is God. It's love. It's a joy. It's a flow. It's a calmness. It's a peace. It's a bliss. It's euphoric. All those moments, that's meditation, all of it. But you could have it all collectively, all bagged up with complete understanding. You're fully present too. Like, you come out of a dream and you don't know what happened, and then a few minutes later you forgot. Meditation, there'll be bits that stay with you. There'll be a decision stays with you for your life. You'll look back at a specific meditation. You're like, whoa, I remember that. And what I love about all of this, people, when you've had one of those experiences, you don't have to go and chase that one again. In the human experience, we go and do something. We loved it. It was amazing. And then you want to keep going back. Then it becomes your identity and you're chasing a high that's already gone past. It's to be able to enjoy all the highs. Meditation gets better and better. There's no boredom when you go in. You create it all. Imagination, visualization, all these words. It doesn't make sense until you do it. So my encouragement, commit 7 days to yourself. Commit 3 days to yourself. I will do this. This is what I am doing. And then, instead of even what you're doing, this is how I will feel after 3 days. All I have to do is turn up. I promise you, the shift will take place. It's that easy. So my focus today is to go through the journey of the soul and show you where the meditation fits in, and give you a visual representation too, so you can put it into your own experience. You can attach it to your own life. And I'm going to show you, this is the way that we teach anything. This is the way that we learn going forward. We've done it all. We've mostly gone on different directions. I promise you, if you learn lessons in life like this way, and I'll show you, it's not me just telling you, it's been telling us for ages with all these signs that we get given to us, with what takes place in the world outside of us, is pointing us to go and do the same thing. All these stories and all these books and all these songs that we listen to all come from within us. Every instrument you've ever heard, that noise, all of that has been created from our body first. The flute would have been our bones, the hollow bones. So there's some wind. Inspiration comes from us. And I'm starting to see every bit about my body now. I'm looking at it completely differently. I've got loads of talks to come up for this stuff as well. And this is 5D, sorry. This is when you tie it all together. And I'm going to show you what all these mean. So all these numbers, 4D, 3D, 5D, ascension, galactic, starseed, 16 dimensions. So people, here's the one thing I'm going to say. If anyone now starts trying to explain to you 16D, I'm even going to say 8D. If you're interested, watch it. Do not go any further with it until you make more sense of the other stuff, because I'm going to show you at a certain point today, it's just a bunch of words. It's people trying to put that into words. You can't do it down at that level, because we don't have the experience to be able to put that into words to know what took place. Again, I'll make sense of it, but the reason why I'm saying that is there's a lot of Mickey Mouse people out there, and I've learned that more and more this year. They're gatekeepers of information. This is information, all of it, especially the spiritual stuff, is to finding God, which is what a lot of people in this world, which again, I'm going to show you the duality today, have tried to stop from us. God is within you. You have to go from outside, first of all, and bring that all within you. You have to get the experience first so you know what to look for inside. From light to dark, from dark to light. You can look inside your body. There's darkness in there. And as soon as you bring your awareness, it's light and body. The light in the mind. If it's a chaotic mind, a brainstorm, too many thoughts is chaos. It's a mind bender, it's twisters. It's carnage. If you clear all of that, the sky, the force, you become one with the flow of life. That's consciousness. That's going from Jesus Christ in the body, saying hello, hell, to reaching his crown and saying halo. He's now outside the body. All of it is allegories, all of it. So I'm going to show you this moment in time we are as well. The earth and the way it moved, the way that we've uncovered certain parts to it has reached the 33rd vertebrae. We now have the understanding to go there. I'm going to show you all this in the next few sessions, and you can back all this up too. So, any questions, please do let me know. Meditations are my life. I can't express enough. I could meditate your meditations 3-4 hours. They're blissful. And again, look at that. 3-4 hours of meditation. Can you imagine saying you'll be doing that soon? You've no chance. Now I've got 4 hours out of my day. You'll see the important stuff is all from inside. I do more in my meditations. I get more insights. I get more things done. And then when I come out, I know exactly what I need to do without even stressing at all. So let's go here, share. And I'm going to go on. Okay, I'm going to do a Canva, and we're just going to. And I'm live. Welcome. And I'm going to go back and forth on the different levels on there. So I'm going to first of all start with this. So two secs, I go onto here, copy. Right. So this image is becoming more and more interesting, and I can explain so much now using this image. I have a whole format now for my teachings, and the way that I can deliver these teachings based on this format will be received a lot easier too. Plus, there's a lot of teachings within the way that we give meaning to certain symbols. And the Illuminati, as the example, we've always associated being bad. I'm going to start this by saying the Illuminati, regardless of the people in it, the whole concept, the whole teaching is the illuminated ones, the illuminated masters. Illumination, you're going to see today, is your soul that comes down into the body, 3 dimensions, then comes up through the heart center, 4 dimensions, and then back up into 5D. So it's like your soul's done a bungee jump into your body, and then getting all the teachings that goes all the way back up. So from 5D to 3D, and then you're back at wholeness again. That's the root of the soul. The world that we live on, the world actually goes down and into spirals. The top of the world is Israel. It's where the sun was born. And the sun spirals all the way down. So all the lands reveal themselves as the sun makes its path. So we effectively live above a pyramid. The world does. And each sun cycle, we're getting lower and lower down. And you'll then see that all the countries, it was like climbing up to Israel. That was the top country, and they called that the chosen one. Things like that. This is where, but this will make more sense as we go on. Again, the models, don't worry about. We're talking to the soul today. Oh no, that's not it. That's not it. That attitude is still not 4D anyway. That's moaning. That's fear. For me, I'm saying take this information on, and then start playing around with it. And if things, I wouldn't say don't make sense. If you can find a better way or more of a solution, show me. And then you find the truth together. But symbolism will be our uprising. So I just want you to look at this image, because this is a great way now to explain how we're going to do tonight. So you've got the pyramid up here. You're looking at this shape in 2 dimensions. So that comes important in a minute. The eye represents God, the all-seeing eye. And then I'm going to show you the journey of God. But this is the way I want you to actually, first of all, think. So this is outside the body, and your soul is the very top layer. That's dimension 1, dimension 2, dimension 3. We always seem to start from the bottom in the human experience and work our way up. You have to keep climbing that ladder. We're going to do it the other way around, though. That is showing us what way to go. Go down. Go down. We always say go up, go down. When you go up a mountain, what's easier, going up or coming down? Coming down. When you've been up a few times, how much easier it is to go down. To the point when you're making winged squirrel suits and you're making skis and you're designing all sorts of things to come back down easier, paragliding, parachuting. You wouldn't be able to make that without going up there and getting the experience first. So we'll start from the top. So this is now, I'm going to explain the mind, body, soul, the yin and yang, the ego and soul, the God, the Son of God. We're going to go down layers. And then we can start enhancing on this. And this is the beauty of it. The more further down you go, watch this. And this is why. Let me show you another image of that one first. So let's go on this one next. So the all-seeing eye. Might have another one. The all-seeing eye at the top. Listen to even the words. We say, oh, it's I don't even know how we can even say that's bad now. Because we just naturally go, oh, it's bad. They're evil. Okay, well, what does that mean? Or they're looking at us, they're watching us. Okay. So look, the eye at the top, and every level down, we work our way down. So for me now, this is the journey of the soul, not the journey of the human. This is the journey of the soul. The deeper we go, the more we come into energy, the more we come into realms and dimensions that yet have been able to be put into words. We have to then work with our creation to understand. So it's almost like what goes up must come down, and vice versa. We have to go down a few and then come back up to make sense of it all. So many people live a life, they just want to know, they just want to know, they just want to know. And you're seeing, look, as you go down this ladder, let me show another image of it because this one's better. If it would let me. I'll just use this one. There we go. Right. If we was to do it this way, if you was to start at the bottom and all this space is information, that's brain overload. But that's what we do. We start from our body and work our way up to the head. If you start from the top bit, you've only got one brick to focus on. And then you got level 2, only 2 levels to focus on. Look at the big steps you got. First of all, you got to get up the step. Then you got to work out how big it is, what is on it. What does any of it mean? It's like we've skipped a few levels without being taught the basics. The soul is the basic because it's only one thing, love. That's it. That's quite easy to understand then. Okay, now that makes sense. The next level down from the soul is the mind. There's only two things to focus on: love, or anything that's not love is fear. God and ego. God had a son. God gave the son free will. God had to make the opposite of himself to know himself. Yin and yang. That's for two. So every time we leave this world, we know what the basics are. We know what's right or wrong. Some of us choose to do wrong, but you just inherently know. Then it's the third level. You add the body in. Body, mind, soul. 3 dimensions. But can you see how we always start from the body and go up? Because the mind sets the body. So, okay, we've got to start at the body first. That's the basics. But we have to start from the soul first, the spiritual being. I'm going to jump down again. Do you drink coffee? Yeah, every day. I love coffee shops. Like, for me, that's that. Yeah, I prefer working out of coffee shops than I do working from home. I like being around different people, different vibes. And I always seem to have a focus when I go to a coffee shop. This is what I'm going to get done today. What else we got? Late again, but here I am. Welcome, Deborah. This is a good one today. So people, at any time, please do ask questions. Let me just see if I can make this smaller so I can see. Oh no, it's on. Maybe it's. I can do it like that. So do it like this, and then hang on, people. And then I can do that one like that. And then do that there. I'm still getting used to all this stuff. So where's my Canva design? Animals. Right. We might just have to. Oh, why it's gone like that. Here we go. So we'll work from 2D and 3D. And then, okay, so we're going to start with 1D first of all. So just do it on a big screen and I'll get my thing up on there. 1 dimension. We skip past this all the time because we're 3-dimensional beings. 1D, first level. It's the eye in the sky. It's the star in the sky. It's God. It's source. It's completeness. It's wholeness. It's the creator. It's the awareness. The moment you become aware, that's when light happens. Let there be light. Boom. So that's the best way to look at this now. So we've got the pyramid here, and the sun is above. God is everything. Every single thing, evil, darkness, black, white, up, down, creation, words, interpretation, every energy at every level, every technology that you've ever seen and be introduced to, God's more powerful than all of that. There's this energy that just flows amongst all of us. It's pure energy at its purest form. God could not be put into words. It goes so beyond words. It goes so beyond our comprehension, our capabilities. It's everything. But that can be quite boring if you are just everything all the time. What is there to do? So then there's a moment where God now tries to then learn who he is. So in order, and this is the whole root of the soul on a human experience. This has already happened on the land. We see this with animals too. There's different levels. So I would even go beyond. I've got some more levels up to go through before we get to the humans on a collective. So I also know that I can do this from the I, human, the we or us or outside, and then the land, etc. as well. We can do this on all different levels. Right, so 1D is the soul. So the sun in the sky, the energy. In Spanish, a lot of the words in our language, which is all creation by God, by the way, it doesn't matter what language, there's a clue left for us. So God now wants to have this human experience. God has a son. The Son of God. God makes the Son in the image of his name. So the Son of God, copy, paste, has a son just like him. Is exactly the same in image, just perfection, pure divine creation. But if God just made exactly the same, then how would he know any different? It's the same. So in order for God to know who he was, he had to make who he wasn't. So the two dimensions is the duality. And this is the soul now starting his journey into this human experience. So before coming into the body, the soul has already chosen the parents. There's this spark of creation taking place. We label it sex, but there's something going on. There's an engagement. It's already pre-planned. It's already predetermined. They're in the room. They're having a moment, and there's this light. The soul comes, I want that family. I'm going to get some lessons here. Picks one here. So this is already taken place. But for God to know himself, we also need to have an opposite. So 2D is the mind. And we call it the collective mind. The accepted mind. Let's go on this one. Copy. And the symbol is perfect. So you'll get a lot of people in religion will say, oh, this is witchcraft. So close to God, they're already saying there's something witchcraft. So there's a choice. And if you look at the yin and yang, it's a dark and light. There's the good and bad. Let's get rid of that one. Always in life, there's a choice. So if we bring it down just from our comprehension, remember we're 3D. We're trying to view, we got to go backwards first because we come in at 3D. We've already gone through these two parts. We forgot. We left the world in 3D. We come back in 3D. When we pass over next time, if we're in 4D, 5D, that's where we come back to. So the reason why people get stuck in 3D is on our arrival, there's fear that we're born into, there's confusion. There's all sorts of things that take place which doesn't make sense. There's horrible environments. There's things called cesarean, and there's loads of education that's all contradicting. There's contraception. There's all sorts of things, right? It's a scary thing. We don't really know. With all the years that we've had going on, we've seemed to overcomplicate this. But you look over there in the indigenous and they're popping them out. Whole families with them straight away. Overcomplicate. And then when we leave this world, when we're meant to be being, we're fed with medication, we're disconnected from our family, we're stuck in a home, we literally got no use of our body anymore, we're an invalid, we're a beetroot. And then you get the whole life. I don't want to be like that. If I'm like that, put me down. I know people say that. So we leave this world confused, drugged up, unpresent completely. And then as we go out of the world, we don't know where we're going. We come back again to learn our lessons again. So we have to go back before we go forward. And this is the whole objective of this. So we're going to always use these levels. So 2D is now what you're looking at on this screen. 2D is the way that we explain for 3D. Remember, to be able to put things into words, I have to use the mind because the soul is energy. For the human experience to comprehend it, I need to go back to the mind first of all. So you go down and you come up. You go down and you come up. And it'll make sense when we start looking at a mountain and stuff as well. So then we got 3D. So this is the human experience. And look how simple this is now, going from up down. We always say from the ground up. And again, when you're doing massage, I always push up towards the heart. Always get the blood flow going upwards. Right? It don't make sense. It's like babies having pregnancy. Your legs are up in the air, but the baby's coming down. You would assist. Again, all done by design. They do the opposite of what's true. So think mirror, the human experience is one way, but we've already started from the soul. So we can also know that if we're from the soul, it has to be upside down, because the soul starts here. So to get a pointer, go with your head first. Your eye knows the way. Again, these are great ways now that we can start controlling this. That makes a lot more sense. We shake it up. So we lead the way. And then when we view this from a human's perspective, we're looking at it from the reverse, so we can make sense. So then we got the body. I'm going to use the mind as well. And then we got the soul. So quite simple now. How do you get up with a 3-part being and mind, body, soul? And well, you start from the soul. That's one. Then you got the mind choice. So soul, mind, body, mind, soul. We always say mind, body, soul, though. That's kind of like so it's like start from the mind. Mind's the middleman. Look, it's the middleman. So if we look at the pyramid now, 3 dimensions, that's the human experience. And we say we're stuck in 3D. We still don't even understand 3D. If you start from the very top of this pyramid, the sun is the truth all the way. So at every level in alignment, it has to come from the sun first and then the mind. Align the mind with the truth. And then for you to have this human experience, it's like the fruit machine where it comes down. It all has to be in a line. Because otherwise you can say, right, my mind's taken over on this one. It thinks it knows right. And then my body just follows underneath. And then illness and stuff comes. But again, it's like that. So you always have a choice. So the way that I work now in my meditations, when I say mind, body, soul, I'm thinking of these images. And I view it like this. Look. That's a package. That comes as a 2. Comes as a 2, look. Comes as a 2. It's a partnership. The body and mind is a replication of the soul, yes and no, fear and love. So underneath that, the body has the same ways, but you've also got the body that can connect with the higher self too. And you've got the sayings, mind out the way. It's a no-brainer. This body here is a creation from God because it's come from all the way from the soul. The mind helped create it, and to put it into this, it still comes from God. Most people don't have God in their lives, and all they've got is this. And if the mind now thinks it's in control, ego, it's got no one else to respond to, and the body would do whatever it says. Every body, do what I say. So sometimes our mind can get in the way. We can overcomplicate things at the mind. It's a chaotic mind. So again, simple way of doing it now. So put these here again. So treat it like this. Look, your body is your temple. And the more we make this journey down to the soul, look, so this is the first bit as well. And this is what I love. Let me see if I can get a skeleton bone up here. Skeleton. All personal trainers out there, I'm telling you, if you start looking at life like this, your whole practice will completely change. Like the way that I do things now is so different, and the way that I'd understand the body now. We've overcomplicated how we learn about the body because they show us in 2D. They show us in 2D. So I want to try to get the back one. Let me just see if I can get a skeleton from the back. Is it not loading? But we learn all this from the inner body, because this is the foundation. This is the earth. This is the mountain. Right, let's just use this one. So, your vertebrae goes down to 33 levels. So I'm going to show you how, again, just even on the bone structure, how it's showing us what was already before. So you've got the soul, which is the truth. And from the spiritual level, you also have then something called your chakras. So we've got 7 chakras in the human experience, but there's a lot of people now suggesting that we have 12. And there's all these extra chakras. Do you know how they've worked that out? Because when you come down through the spine, rather than going from the feet up, which we just say the feet has 30 bones, has 30 plus muscles, and over 30 bones. What have I got? 26 bones, 30 joints, and over 100 muscles, tendons on the feet. Imagine trying to work out all those things. You haven't got a clue about any of them. That's how they teach. If you come from the head up and you work your way down, you got first of all 7 bones. It's called your cervical. It's the top of the spine. There's 5 segments to the spine. And I remember at college, again, how things now stick to you. They taught us how to learn the spine in terms of how many bones there are and what segments they are. And so the first one was, okay, there's a dance that you do. It's 7, 12, 5, 5, 4. Move your hips and boom. And teacher used to do it all. I just remembered 7, 12, 5, 5, 4. So the physical comes after the spiritual, right? So the spiritual 7 chakras is a smaller version of the 7 bones that start the way down. The way that I'm going to say ascend. We're coming down into the temple first. So just know after the 7, once we hit a certain point, there's going to be 12 spiritual gate portals, points as well. Again, I'm not going to go that deep into it, but I just want to show you at every point in creation, especially with this body, it's been mirrored from what we can experience in this world. So you work at, and again, if you want to heal, and you got all these aches and pains, you work one level at a time. So you go 1, 2, move it in 3 dimensions, 3, 4, and you can work on the first 7 without anything else getting in the way. You work all that out. So again, you come down first. Imagine the hard work going all the way up, and everything's linked with everything else. That's what we do. And again, from the human experience, when we build, we start from the ground. That's the foundation. But before we build, there had to be a thought out of nowhere. Just popped that I'm going to build a house. Or someone phones you up, can you build this house? And yes, yeah, I can. Then the architect, the mind, has to plan all that before there's any physical. So even the way that things take place, we're getting the same as an order on the way down. So if you can start thinking on these lines in everything. So I take the news and politics and what we're being shown and people waking up and stuff. In the 3D world, we're getting shown on 2D, flat screen. This is the news, little flashes, TikTok, flash, flash, flash. Okay, some people live their life like that. That's all they need to be informed. That's quite a limited way of being informed, but yet that's their choice. So they're stuck in 3D just based on their choices. Then you've got a lot of people now that I'm saying in the 3D that's kind of say, I don't want to be in this way of living anymore. A lot of the things that we are being shown doesn't make sense. I need to go and look just a bit more into it. So we're now kind of living in this 4D space, which is the mind anyway. And we're trying to now make sense, looking back down into the matrix, going, oh my God, there's that lie, there's that lie. But the one thing that you're going to see, the big mistake that a lot of us have got to is that we're not living in 4D. We've still got the same mentality in the 3D. And I'm going to show you how this makes sense with the chakras, with the bones, with the energy centers and everything. So I'll put this one at the top. So now treat your body as the inner temple. When you come down, watch this. When you come down into the inner temple, what's in between your third eye? So there's your third eye. What's either side of your third eye? Oh, temples. Your inner temple is your third eye, which is God, which is your intuition. We're working our way up. We come down first. When they say, oh, you got to decalcify your pineal gland, we're going to switch it on. You've already done that. It's already working. You just got to become aware of it. If people are selling you nonsense and stuff like it's simple, people, it's awareness. It's a choice, yes or no? Love or fear, ego or soul, negative or positive. It's just a choice, instant. Doesn't need any thinking about it. So what I'm showing now is these are simple ways to live life on everything you do, because you have to start from the truth first. What's the point of going on a whole education spree, getting all this stuff, but it doesn't fall back to the truth? He's angry. Everything else is irrelevant underneath. So again, the way that you filter thing down is your checklist. Right. Is that coming out in flow? Is that simple? Okay. Does it feel right? Because 3D now, mind, body, soul is feelings, because you have a body. The body is the container to the soul. So on my meditations, this come up to me today as well. And remember, this is God, right? The gateway to God, gateway to the inner kingdom. So there's 3 points. And I said the 3 H's, the heart, body, mind, soul. Heart, mind is the head. And then I said the soul is the higher self, which is true. However, the body is the arse-hole, our soul. It's a hole. And what do they do to try to corrupt God? They corrupt the body through some evil demonic stuff, children from a young age. They corrupt the mind. And the soul is the one thing they can't corrupt. That's the heart. So the body, it's not your heart center. Your body's the whole. Because your soul travels through the dark into the light. It has a gateway. So as we go down the spine, what is at the very base of your spine? A gap. So all this stuff was coming to me. I'm like, whoa, this is a lot deeper. And then you use the things like, again, I don't want to go too deep into it, but just the words drill. Things like that. It's like, oh, they're blocking the way. It's energy. It's corruption at every level. So this spiritual war, I'm being shown darkness too, with awareness now. And again, the words all tell us in plain sight. So watch this now then. So human experience, we can now know, and I know a lot of people that know about all these different dimensions. They go all the way, right, that's 8D, that's 9D, that's 16D. So from a human perspective, viewing this in 2D, I want knowledge. I want to know it all. So watch this. I can go all the way down. Right, 4D, what do? I learn the weekend course. I do 1 meditation. I'm an expert. Right, now I'm teaching 5. I'm going up to your star family. I'm telling about all your star family. I'm doing. You're just learning it, remembering it. There's no experience. So what happens is, and this is why it's so important to go on this journey, people, is it has to come from your experience for you to make sense of it. If you start straight from the truth, the soul, then the words you can then start putting into meaning. Again, meditation, why do you think we connect? We both start at the soul. We both come down together into the experience, but there's no mind, no body. It's one. Meditation, because you're now having a human experience, wholeness. Everything's in alignment. So you have to go down to come back up again. So watch. Soul, mind, body, soul, mind, body. And this is the way that I love kind of explaining it. So you start from the eye. Ready? Eye. So level 1 is the eye. When you wake up in the morning, what is it? AM. I am. Right. So, mind. I don't know why my fingers are going missing. Oh no, that's right. Let's come back on the chat first of all. I'm hoping this makes sense because I'm going to show you how we can learn a lot easier now as well. So again, we can jump down all the levels, and I think it's quite nice to learn, but this is where the power of 3 comes in. Go 3 Master it first, get a more understanding, build a bigger base, because there's more space to fill here, and then go and venture down a bit. Otherwise, you can't take things back with you because you have no reason to use it. Right. Body, mind, soul. Okay. And change these over as well, because always at every level, we want to make sure that we're aligned with our soul. Because when we're aligned, the mind works together. The mind becomes a creator. When we're aligned here, embodiment, enlightenment, enlightened mind, in body, mind. All in the words. But it has to be in alignment for it to work. So to think, people, to get to the next level, to actually experience the next level, you have to be in alignment. To be in alignment, we then have to work at these ones, and that's why we have to go back up. So, where are we? Still learning how to do this. Oh, this is making so much sense. Love today's live. Thank you, Nikki. So come back in. But watch now, Cherry. We're now using this whole dimension for everything we do in life. Everything. So I was even looking at, let's come back to that again. So I was even looking at school. So at school, to learn anything, they would show you just on a bit of paper first. Paper, now there's screens and stuff. So that's 2D. They haven't had any meaning. So to add the human experience, the 3D, for us to start understanding, it has to have some feelings attached to it. It has to have some meaning attached to it. Like, how can you use this in practical terms? Feeling comes after that, because we're looking back down on one. So this is the timetables, or this is fractions, and this is when you adduce it. Look, if you're selling to 4 people, you divide it in 4, there's a quarter there, there's 4 equal pieces. Oh, the practical element is the mind. For a lot of people, they can't accept it if they can't make sense out of it. So again, the experience, first of all, is just what I'm being told. That's information. It's a lot of waffle at the moment, but now they just said a reason why it would come in handy. Oh, that now makes sense. To teach even more, and this is where kids really learn, and this is where we can now start experience people and see, are they in their truth, or are they just repeating? Are they being authentic, or is this someone else's material? If this is someone else's material, are they using it and adding it to their life? And that's easy when we now get to 4D. Watch this. And this is where I've realized a lot of us are stuck in 4D, hence why they say from 3D to 5D, because there is a jump coming soon, because love is the only thing that wins. And the technology that now is caught up with the understanding of love, it wouldn't work with any other way. So watch this. So we go down 3 levels. This is the pyramid. Now we have to go back up. So when I'm doing now my meditation, this is how I explain it to people. Right. So you start from the soul. So every day the soul sets in the mind, and then the mind sets in the body. So as the soul comes down to save you, comes down, you then set intentions the night before. Those tensions are now in the energy in the soil. So the 3D is the soil. That's the ground when you start. But before that, you've had the thoughts and you've had the awareness. So you do all that the night before. Remember, it's ahead of time. You present it. You presented it. And now you're present. That is the gift. You've already done it all before. That's why things don't feel right, because your soul is not then aligned with your mind. And then that disruption in your body, it's like the films with the hidden treasures, and then the light unlocks the door. For the light to work, it has to all come through one. Otherwise, it blocks it off. That's how keys work. So you become the gatekeeper to your mind, what comes into it and what leaves it. So as it comes down, we're stuck in this lower end of They're soil. It's like our heads below the ground. We haven't woke up yet. Everything feels so heavy. I feel groggy. I feel stuck. Yeah, you're stuck in the mud. So every day you set intentions, you plant your seed. So the soul starts there. You plant your seed. Now your seed for growth, you need to work your way back up the body again. If we went down on a 2-dimension and we're going down to 6D or 5D, you got a long way to work back up again. And if you haven't got the understanding how the body works, your body's going to be tiring. So you don't have to come down too far to go back up again. That's why there's no rush. And if you realize this is just one part of the experience, you chose this body for this time because this part in the Great Awakening, your body's going to be really beneficial. In fact, your body's going to experience things that you've never experienced before, and you're going to have these explosions and eruptions of just magic. And in that whole process, you're going to be able to realize, I've been through all this. I made all these choices. I went through hell, and now I'm in heaven, all in my human experience. So this is the other thing. Anyone that talks outside of 5D, there's no point. What is the point at the moment? The human experience is 5 dimensions. And I'll show you why. So you plant the seed, the sun comes down, the Son of God. So God from the sky, now the Son of God, the soul, comes down. The soul, S-O-L, you start from the eye now because now you're in the human experience. You come through the eye. You pass through the mind's eye. So you're now I at the bottom. Soul, S-O-L, plus I is soil. The roots at the foundation, stuck in the roots. So you planted your seed from the night before, the intentions. Now you've got to let it manifest. You've got to let it grow in abundance. And it's the same as the mind. Whatever you plant in the mind grows in abundance. You put fear in that mind, and then all the illnesses and disruption, disease grows in the body. So again, going back to the soul always. If your body is not working for you, if you have injuries, if you're getting sick, if your body's feeling anxious, there's something at the mind first. Go back up to the mind. Go back up a level. There's less to focus on up there as well. Yes, no. Love, fear. Soul, ego. Okay. Well, if it's my ego, what's the truth then? Well, I need to leave this person. How am I going to do that? Ego, soul, ego, soul. You go down levels, you come back up again. No rush. You're exactly where you're meant to be. So ready, when I'm doing my meditation, we do it like this. So, soul 1D, going through the mind 2D, but the mind is with the body. It comes as a partnership. Once I've understood fear or love, then I feel it in my body, rest in my body. So any gut feeling now communicates back up to my mind. The senses stimulate the body. I smell something, and then the thought of that memory comes. I see something, and it flashes up memory. So the body works back up with the mind. If the mind's clear, it's a clear path down, then anything that happens in your body, which is the truth, your feelings, is a direct signal back up again. So if something doesn't feel right in there, it means, oh, something's got through my mind, my gatekeeper. I've made a mistake here. I need to make a U-turn. If it comes back up, I now have a choice again. If it's not love, it can't come up any further, because love now, people, is 4D. And I'm going to show you why that's so important, because if we just go here, if we look at your chakra system, the 4th one down, in the middle is your heart. The 4th one up is your heart. So at the center of the universe, that's your soul's optimal. Always come from the heart. So we can skip all these bits. Have I done this? Have I done? If I'm in the heart and my body's feeling great, my mind's clear, all this has already been achieved. I just go straight to that feeling. In the speed of light, I know it's a no in. And if it's not a no in, you say no, the next level up. No, change it. Come back down again, go back up. Sunset, soul rise. So the sun rises up the body. And this time when it's now in the heart, and you go think below the heart, you've gone solar system, heart. So now from the heart, what takes place in the heart? That's your God space here. Creation. You only can create when you're in that heart space. When there's no mind, look, the mind's up there still. The mind's out the way. We've already bypassed the mind. We set. Every day is a new day. I come straight up to the heart today. I don't let the mind get involved at this point. The only time I let the mind get involved, and this is what 4D, it's the C's. And if you look at the heart, there's 4 chambers of the heart. So the C's that I've come up with at the moment, and it needs a bit of adjusting. The C's that I've come up with is creation, connection. I don't know where my paper is. Compassion and critical thinking. I'm going to call it change is also there. Like it's all the C's. Again, I'm going to master this and put it into my own way. But it's creation. Effectively, anything that you love, what area of the body is love? Oh, your heart. Anything that you do with passion, that is God instantly. You don't have to think about it. Time disappears. There's no such thing as time in the heart, in the body. It's always from the heart. And watch this. Because I'm still in my body, when I feel it now, I get to speak it. And my mind still doesn't get in the way. I can hear the ego going off, waiting, but I don't let it get up there. What do I feel first? That comes first. What's that gut feeling? What's that knowing? Okay, let me make sense of this at the moment. It still feels right. I'm going to say it. I'm going to speak it. I speak from my heart. That's the truth. But what do? We go straight from the mind. We forget our feelings. We don't even get that. So we just go straight to the mind. Mind's leading the way again. Past it. It's like we forget the soul. So speak hearts, feelings, creation. Okay, so this is where it's important. You can have someone teaching you this and they go down to 4D and this is 5D. But if they're moaning, if they're comparing, if they're judging, they're not speaking from experience. They're speaking from the mind, which is up here, or the human experience. Human experience is feelings. So I've realized now the whole role of the soul for the human experience. So first of all, it's just fear or love. Okay, I've got that. I've mastered that now. 2D is quite simple. I can break that in words, positive, negative. I can break that in a body. I can protect or I can go into flow. You can do that from love, fear or love. It's quite simple. Mastered that one. Now body, mind and soul. Body is the feelings. This is a new thing for me now as a soul. I've never had feelings before. So my whole life is feelings. I've had, when I'm younger without the presence, I've had all these horrible moments and these whole spectrums. And I saw anger, red mist, I was upset and I was worried, a full spectrum. And then when I started getting conscious of this, I realized that I don't personally have to have that experience to have those emotions. I'm a soul now. I'm now sharing the space with you. So if you've been in some darkness, that you're now speaking your truth from your heart, getting it out in the open, which is a truth. You've got someone else to receive that energy from you and just keep it flowing. You now have someone to understand because I'm with you. I'm with your heart underneath your body. In standing, stand in. So all these words too. So everything from 4D. So what is from the heart if I'm teaching? It has to be with passion. It's got to be with purpose. If I'm just doing it based on what I did 20 years ago, and there was personal trainers. Yeah, I was Olympic champion. I was a gold medalist. They were fat. They were lazy. They were miserable. They were lethargic. There was no passion. When I go to church and I want to hear these stories of God, and I was really excited to go, and these people are telling you the word of God and Jesus is going to save you. And I'm looking at him, it's like, where's the energy? All mind. It's just talking a good game. All mind. There's no feelings though. By the time it gets to 4D, it's only truth. So people, if you're at this stage now, let's look at what we're being presented with. Anyone presenting you information, they're sharing. They're describing, they're the scribes of this moment of time. But if they're coming from a negative place, you know it's not a truth. It cannot be. The information is up here. The information you're getting, but it doesn't make sense with me. Even if it doesn't mean anything at the moment, you haven't seen that country, you haven't heard of that person, but it doesn't feel right. It's not. And we fight against that. So we are the ones that need to wake up from this dimension. The people in 3D, oh yeah, they're going to be they're not coming with it. They will. They're being guided by the TV, being guided by us. They're being shown exactly what they need to be shown. Predictable behavior. It's mind programming. And this is where we've been stuck for our evolution. So if we looked at the countries going down, we haven't been able to go any lower because we're not ready for the unknown yet. We've got to come back up and clear the way. So when I do the meditation now, meditation has to be a feeling, but to reach enlightenment. And again, that word's got too many attachments. We talk about enlightenment. Enlightenment is just this. Look, body's in alignment, comes back up the body. It's an enlightened body now. I'm feeling it from my heart. My energies come up to my throat chakra. The next one up, then is my third eye. But it's illuminated this time. It's done the journey. So my inner kingdom now is lit up from within. It's magic. And now I can look down and think, whoa, look at the depths of here. Look at this space for discovery, a new world, a new reality inwards. And all these answers, look how far I can go down and look what I've got. Well, I've got all the time because time is a mind concept. So when we come back up 5D, so when I'm talking to you guys in the meditative states and you're in that flow, you've done the journey. You come back up and you're here. Enlightened mind. How do you know your mind's enlightened? Because your body feels at peace. Sometimes the body feels empty. It's like the arms feel like they're missing. No body. No mind has to be from no body because it's one. Mind sets the body. So whenever there's no body, your mind knows the body. Your mind is calm. So instead of all that busyness, BC, you're now busy creating from the feelings that have been created inside your body, from your heart creative space, your mind now, which is what the duality was for, the yin and yang. Busy is darkness. White is creation. The mind, either or. The mind is so magic. It's got this imagination in magic nation. In magic, it has a choice. But for the mind to get the inspiration, it needs to be felt from the body. It's layers. So 3D experience, the reason why I'm here, we go into 4D from the heart, and then we go out back as the spirit, back as the soul, back as the truth. But I've already had all these experiences. Now I'm having a human experience consciously. Christ conscious is 33 vertebrae crossing over, dying, leaving the body in hell, all the way down, and now you're halo. It's all in plain sight. All in plain sight. So that's the route of 1D to 5D. I don't feel we need to go into 6D yet. However, 6D is quantum. 6D now is where I feel that a lot of my mind thought processes are going because it's perspective. And that's what I now realize is looking through all the different perspectives. The soul being at this state in 5D is the feeling of wholeness, is the human experience. However, quantum takes it out of the body. Quantum now quantifies all things outside of ourselves too. Quantify things now looks at timelines and emergence, and they've got a different path. But if they made these choices, we're moving at the speed of light. It does not make sense unless you've had all these other experiences. And you could have a glimpse, you know, when sometimes we have a magical moment and people are like, I found God that night, or I had the meeting with Jesus, and it's a one-off, and now they're enlightened. No, this is every day, people. Every day I feel like this, working, understanding, but I'm not rushing going down now. I'm coming back up because my body's enlightened, my mind's creating, my understanding so much, and now I'm going back down. What can I learn more about my body? whoa, there's so much more about my body. My positive thinking, my words are influencing it. I'm now, and it's almost, where things are just meant to be. And we're fighting all the time with the mind, and we're not in the right place. We're not doing the right thing. But now my body's doing the same stuff, but I'm learning more. I'm making more sense of it. I'm appreciating, actually, I don't need to be going anywhere or doing anything because I know what my purpose is right now. Learn more, get the experience so I can start sharing straight away by the time we all get to 5D. Because we're at a point now, we're getting so aware that we can see, once you come up to the heart space and you realize any negativity from the words, it's 3D, it doesn't ring true. It doesn't feel right. So you're choosing to go back down to 3D. Our life we spend in 3D, we treat ourselves as the body, as the mind. We just look at it as in isolation. It's only us. So when we die in fear, because fear is 3D, 4D is not fear. It can't be. 5D skips the 4D, but you need the 4D for the meaning. 5D meditation takes you straight up. So when we're there, then the soul coaching comes in, right? We're here now. This is the fast track to it, but let's make sense of it. Body, mind, soul. Heart center. Take your attention to your heart center. Take your attention to the base of your spine. Work your way up. There's your sacral space. There's your solar plexus. There's your heart center. At the core, you in the universe, the sun and all the solar systems and planets move around you. Now at your third eye, the all-seeing eye, the intuition, the in-light, eyesight, insight. Can you see where all the words now start making sense? So all this knowledge comes when I'm taking you through the meditations. And as I imagine this going down, I'm now getting more familiar with all these levels. And now something else pops up. I'm like, oh, where does that fit in? Oh, that may be the next part then, or that bit. So I'm staying here in 5D at the moment, trying to take some understanding with the quantum. And that's where manifesting the stuff really kicks in. What you put in comes out. But for that all to work properly, you have to go through like baseball. You go through the bases. You have to go through everyone to get your home run when you back up. So this is where mastering comes in. Let's look at just the 3 dimensions. So look, the spiritual being is 5D, the 4D is creation from the mind. But we don't have to worry about that. So we go down to 5D. We've had the experience now in meditation. In the meditation, I had insights. I bring that to the mind now. What does that mean? What's my plan of action? Action is the soul. Plan is the mind. What's my plan of action so I can shine my light? Then I got to create a plan. I got to architect a design. And then I get the feelings that I'm enjoying all of this process at the moment. So I can go back up to 5D and then go back down again. Then we live life in 3D again because we're having a human experience. We chose this part. So this is what I love now is I don't want to go anywhere else because I realize how most of my life's been unconscious. I realized that I'm experiencing highs now that I never had. And I'm a few years into this, and it's only been the last few months where I'm understanding even more so. And now I'm even imagine 10 more years where I can openly have more conversations. I can get access to more information. More people are going to be starting to have these experiences. And I can do that in a safe environment. I can do that in a world where I know that you're not going to get killed because you're connecting with God. You're not going to get hunted down because you're putting out truth. You're not going to have people trying to break into your space with intel, with evil, with deceivers to take what's yours, which is your gold. The I in gold is God. Take that out. Gold, God, good. So all of a sudden now it's like, well, let me master this experience. So living in 5D as the spiritual being, I just say meditation every day. I've hit my 5D. It doesn't need to be anything extravagant. It doesn't have to be hour sessions. It's just let me go into that space. And people, 5D, if you start doing these things in awareness, the other stuff that you do in that flow state, that is 5D without the awareness. So when you're walking the dogs and you're being all silly with them, And some people say that is the only time where they feel like they're their 100% self, when they're with their dogs. That's God. That's a mirror. When you're dancing, when you're singing, when you're listening to old music, when you're watching your kids in the moment, all of that, but do it now while you're present too. And you'll learn so much more. You'll realize what you were missing out on. You'll pick up different things where it's like, wow, your kids are in this mode without them even realizing. If you can spot it and see it and experience it and don't rush it, and then say, look what you did there. Did you notice it? What did you think about that? Then you can learn from them. They're God too. We learn from, everyone's our teacher. If it's from love, and we as the king asking questions as king, we can get our answers. The way that they put into words might not make sense, but they can work on images. Give a kid a pencil and some of these kids can draw divine creations. That's God. They're closer to source. They haven't had the mind corrupted yet. And if you look at learning from a screen and we're going down, we're learning from adults. The adults are speaking down to the children. We're speaking down like we know. But it's what we think. It's what we believe. What we know, we wouldn't be telling them, do this, don't do that. We would be sharing with them. What do you think about the right choice is? What would happen if you made a more empowering choice? What more empowering choices could you decide on? What took place then? How did it make you feel? What would you do differently next time? What did you learn about it? That's living in 4D, people, asking those questions. Remember, you're the king of your crown. So nothing changes. And I said it in my meditation. I realized today I was trying to explain it in the meditation. This is a presentation from mind. I'm speaking too much mind. So meditations, I'm going to simplify it even more. So we just get the images, really. Remember, the soul is yes or no. And then the body is just feelings from the soul. It feels right. Okay. It is right because the mind makes sense too. Makes sense in the body, senses. And then pre-sense, yeah, it still rings true as well. Layers. All the way down, all the way up. So I feel now that the human experience has gone all the way down to the bottom of the earth. They found the North Pole, which is actually, the North Pole is at the lowest point because it's snowy. But when the sun makes it down there, you have then the 3-day equinox. Jesus died on the cross, now works its way back up again. They're the poles, but the North Pole was at the bottom. And then they found out, there's another ring around the ice pole now. Antarctica. That's the 7th continent. 7 down. We've now come all the way down. We come all the way up. And then to come back up at the top where it finishes in Israel, it had to come through the heart center. So truth only wins from this point. Hence, everything now from the top. Look, you're looking down. You can see anyone trying to get up to you. Once you go from the heart, so they either use other people to come up there because you can't fake love, or you become the protector of it. No, you're not coming into my kingdom now. That's the protector of the mind. So again, you're always from a bird's eye view looking down. It makes sense. Look at the bigger perspective, the higher perspective. You're God. This is your creation, everything in it. Everything outside of you is being left clues for you. So you can have this experience. So I then looked at the shapes of the, so this is 2D, what we get in understanding how we do as humans. But in 4D, we should be learning in 3 dimensionals. So it has to have feelings to it. I have to have an experience. Soul is experience, mind is creation, and body is feelings and memories. You feel those sensations in the body, senses. So it has to be them 3. So now I've worked out here. So let's use the triangle still. So if we go to this image, I think it might be this one. This one. So this is us now in 4D looking at this shape in 3D. Look, 3D. And this is, again, where my fitness comes in. Let me just come up to here. Duppy drop. Hey, Harry, I'm really struggling. I lost my job and I feel like absolute failure. Okay. So use the same logic. Go straight to meditation, Duppy drop. Meditation, look at the root. Watch. And again, the soul is with meditation, goes like this. Boom, boom. So you're already illuminated in the meditation. You've skipped all this. So where's the mind? Oh, you've now got a choice of it. To go through there, the mind had to go through creation. So your soul's set in the mind at this point. You ask your soul in the meditation, what do I want? I want this. You create it and the body feels it. So if you're feeling down, anyone, if you're feeling ill, meditation. And it's funny because I've worked with a lot of people. I've simplified my coaching so much now that I don't coach many people now because my answers are so simple. They don't want that. People choose to still have it. And the reason why we choose to still have it is because we don't understand it. So rather than knowing that we can go down and look down and then make sense of it, we're now having to be stuck in it. We choose to get stuck. We're never stuck. It's only a choice. We're never addicted. We choose. We're addicted to bad choices. But we choose. If you really want the truth, meditate. In the meditation, listen to my words. I'm coaching your soul, which then makes sense for your mind, which then is felt inside the body, which then brings it back up to the mind as the choice. Feel love, back up to oneness with the soul. That's the way that I work on the meditations. I come down, right, just one breath. Start at the base of your spine, clear the airways, clear the path. Now come into this body, bring yourself to this moment. Bring yourself to the heart center. Notice that feeling. Speak from that feeling. What is that feeling? How would you describe that feeling? That's how I work. I use these images and I ask my questions based on, okay, what's this one? With your next step, you're healing the ground, grounding. When your spirit comes up within you through the souls, in spirit, spirit within. I just use images now. So I wish I was told to learn like this when I was younger. We have to look at tables and you have to remember. Again, we go straight to the mind without the experience. If we use the senses for kids, so this mums and dads, don't make it overcomplicated. Experience. We become the shepherds to their development. Our shepherding is the environment we create for them. We become the gardeners. We take them to the beach. We take them to the forest. We take them to the city. We might not like it, but if you did it all in awareness and you was curious and you saw their excitement about going on the trip, it would be the best city trip you'd ever go on. Because you're learning too. You're both souls have an experience. It changes everything. And what does this all come back to? Meditation. All this stuff happens in meditation, but it's like, so you don't have to go down the layers and then make sense of it. You have it first. And then we can work our way back. What did that mean to you? Well, I felt this. I saw this. Okay, what did that mean? And then you start going on it. So look at this, the 3D. This is where mastery comes in. So we can go down, and I like this one here. So in a 2D, you can keep going down. But 5D and then 6D, it's a long way to come back up again. It's a lot of work going down, coming up. So just go to 3D. So to start with in a 2D, the sun comes down, the mind and sun. So it's on 2 levels. Now you've got mind, body, soul. But you realize the sun's light, so it can travel quicker than the thoughts and the physical. So it comes back up. So you go down, then come back up. Let me just put this in front, a line. I know. So 3D, this is how we then start working on mastery at the 3D. Let's forget the 4D at the moment. We know about it now. We're having the feelings, and meditation will be helping. You meet in the middle. You meet at the horizon. Father Sky, Mother Earth. You get born by the mother. You come up through the human to reconnect with the father. Again, all in plain sight. So you come down 3 levels. So now I'm having this human experience. I'm learning, right, my body, my mind, and my soul. I've got a lot more to learn about my body. But my body is really basic. It's from a feeling. My mind is the bit that gets in the way, but the mind gives it meaning to make sense to come back to the body. So I've worked out. Let's then look at from 4D, because we're doing it from heart space. And this is where we are now. And this is what my next course is going to be. It's on these levels. And not that one. But can you see where people are like, oh, Illuminati's bad and stuff? And it's like, the reason why they're scared of all this, because this goes into a deeper level of knowing God. Just get the right one here. Okay, so look at this. So this is now a 4D shape. Remember when they rub it in our faces? We got a flat screen TV. And then they bring out 3D glasses, and then it's 4D. And you're like, wow, this technology is 4D. It's just showing what we're capable of. If we went and learned, okay, the soul, and you enhance even more. It's like we skipped it and feel like we're going back a step. But yet if we started from the top, no, it's only getting better and better. So look at this triangle. So remember, we're only going for 3 levels, right? And this just shows you then the complexity of life. The more you go down in dimensions, the more things to focus on. You can only reach mastery when you illuminate the whole temple. So from the 2D going down, right, I've illuminated that. I've got a knowing of it. I understand it. It makes sense. Haven't had the experience, though. That's the soul. So I have to go back up through it all to make sense, which can take time. And in the human life, I've got all my feelings, all my emotions, the rainbow. And I realized even all the coloring, you know, even the Epstein temple, listen to this. What colors is it? It's blue. What colors on the Star of Israel? It's blue. When the Hawaii attacks on, what color was the ruse where they said it protected you? It was blue. What did they do in that temple? Okay, it's still got God. What's the pedo logo? Oh, it's a blue spiral. So it's in God's hands. It's in God's creation. So all these horrible things, trust, it's fine. We're learning. It will never happen again. But God is there every step of the way. That Star Israel, 666, it's on 6 sides. 6D, quantum, truth, transparency. Right at the top of the Christmas tree, the Star of David, Christmas tree. Look at the pyramid and a Christmas tree. You have levels down, you shine your lights, you work your way back up. The tree's not complete until that star's at the top. So look, 3 levels down, we got 4 sides to work on. So if we make it simple, 3 of those sides, body, mind, soul, for a human. So from the 3 perspectives, and then the 4th one, we tie them all together. I'm going to call that health. So this is the next part of it. So every triangle, I've got 3 layers. So watch this. I'll come back to the chat if you're still on. I hope you're enjoying this. A deer greeted me yesterday in my walk to the woods. It was magical. I love that, John. It's those moments as well. Imagine telling yourself that a few years ago. I think people killed deers and stuff as well. We wouldn't be killing animals if our life was easier, unless you're evil. And animals wouldn't be killing other animals if they had access to food and they were feeling love. It's a shared love is the answer to all things. Even the energy we put in the food to give the animals, we put it through love first. Energy, thought. What does it mean when you see your light in a reflection? So think about it. You're illuminated. There's a glow to you now. When you're glowing, what does that mean? There's a love, your heart. You feel it first. You go into the room and you felt their energy. That's heart. And then when you see a glow, there's a glow to their face. They got a glow to their skin. It's shining out of them now. And then if they just come up one high with their eyes closed when there's no body, no mind, and then you work on those feelings and try to take that then into everyday experience. So blue and yellow, all the greens in nature. And that was my next one, Nikki. Thank you for sharing. When I say we're in God's hands, look at the Ukraine war. What flag, what colors was pushed down our throats? Blue and yellow. Blue is God protection. Yellow is the sun. The 3 primary colors, red, blue, and yellow. Red is the ego now. You have to have these other ends of the spectrum. We have to go through these emotions, but you can see red mist ego unconscious. We can feel frustration and sadness. There's levels to each of this, so we can break it all down. So here's what I did for health first. And this, for me, then, this is how we work through different things. You can do this on everything you do. Break it down. Okay, what's in front of me right now? What is this? Okay, that's the truth. And I'm going to show you where the envelope comes in as well. Actually, that came to me the other day. It's brilliant. All this stuff, and again, it all applies to me. I'm making sense of it, and I can put it where I'm open. It makes sense to you. That's my truth. If you take it on as a truth, it's energy. That's what we're sharing. But if you're taking it on with an understanding too, and then what you do is tweak it to work for you, the experience that comes your way, that's when you make a choice of how to do it, what to look for, what to say. That all comes from you. And then something else will come out. You go, oh, I learned this. So all this people, that heart part, to be at the heart, we have to be open. To be open, we have to let go of judgment, because the mind is judge mind. So we let go of judgment. We have to then go back and accept the past is the mind, which is time. We just observe. We're watching. So everything comes back from that heart creation. So if we go health, we do this. So each level of the pyramid. So this makes more sense where it's 9. So it's 3 levels down. We've got 4 sides, 12, sorry. 12 is the next part of the spine. The thoracic. So, health, body, mind, soul. So this is how I work on all the everything. I try to split into 3. So from health, we got health for the body, health for the mind, and health for the soul. We've also got the relationships between them. Remember, the ship is the body, so you have relations with the mind and the soul. The captain is the soul of the ship, of the vessel. The captain of the mind. Soul sets the mind sets the body. So body, whatever happens at the body is because the mind sent a signal to it. The signal's being stimulated either by the senses from the body for an experience, or the soul's giving it an insight to then pass on so the body can feel. So again, the beauty of the soul, it can be either or. So mind, body, soul, mind, body, soul, mind, body, soul, always the power of 3. So health, if we look at spiritual health, meditation, anything to do with your soul, meditate. So you've already ticked it off straight away. By working on your soul, your mind and body has to be one anyway. So meditation is the key for all of it. It's that top of the eye each time, but illuminated. And to be illuminated, what it come up from the body, so body health and mind health. So if I haven't exercised, if I haven't done any learning today, I'll go straight to my meditation. In my meditation, I say, what have I learned today? My soul said, well, actually, you learned this about your body. You learned this about the way that your feet move. You learned about this observing that person today. You learned this about the depth of the earth and the spirals. So, okay, so I did have a workout then. My body did feel good and it felt at peace. I did have a disconnection. I'm working on all these things still. So soul health is meditation. Mind health for me is learning, being in flow, creating 5D, 4D, 5D, 4D. So anything creating, and to create, you're in your soul space anyway. And in the body, moving, energizing the body, lighting up the body. So stretching, yoga, walking. Whilst you're walking, now just scan the body. So you can feel the energy go around. You set the intentions in that energy. Now, body nourished, body energized, body lit up. The basics. That's simple then for health. So that's one side of the triangle. So if you have it as a tick list, the tick really comes straight from the soul. And whilst you're there in the soul, all the mind wants is a bit of appreciation. Oh, the soul noticed me. The father noticed me. The body wants appreciation from the mind. So it's just awareness. It's a tick box, right? In my meditation, I'm working my mind and my body's healing. I'm telling my body it's recovering. I'm telling my body it's energizing, it's upgrading. It's all energy. So then you've got the 4 corners. So I look at now the body. So we look at it from the body's perspective. So if I do mind, body, soul, the body is to remember. You could even say feel. The mind is to create. And the soul is to experience. So if I'm looking at it from the body perspective, this is how I know I get all three. So the body perspective is the human experience. So create, experience, and remember. The experience is always from your soul. And again, you can use these, you could say you can have a creation from your soul because it's told the mind. You can remember from your soul because you always remember. Come in any order. Experience, I call the soul, a spiritual being having a human experience. So this is the human experience. To have a full experience, I want my mind creating to remember, not my mind being busy. Busy creating BC before Christ. Then I've got doing it from my mind perspective, which is really simple. Remember, it's 2D. Mind should be simple. The meaning of the mind is right. Three things. If I look at mind, body, soul, my thoughts from the mind, my words spoken from the body, my actions is all my focus is for the mind. If I can work on those three, that's the third level down. If I work on just those three, I'm now positive my words. I focus on my thoughts. So words and thoughts would be mind, body. My actions will follow. My soul will just do what it needs to then. I've set the right environment with my words. And my thoughts impact my feelings. Whatever I think about will come true. So from a 3D perspective, working back up for mastery, work on those 3 points for the mind. And then we've got the... Oh, I missed that bit. Sorry. Create. That's for the soul. The soul as a human experience, remember, create, experience. The body is even more enjoyable. So what do we do when we're awake? We're asleep. And then the last one is the meditation. So meditation is the soul. And again, you could put a triangle on all of these ones because it's every side. The meditation is for the soul. My mind is when I'm awakened. My body is when I sleep. So if you think about it, when I sleep, my body's healing. My body is at its best because it doesn't have the mind to tell it. When I wake up, I've now got a choice and my ego takes over. Usually I'm awake for too long, 16 hours. Here's another one to do. Copy, paste. This then comes to here, the number 8. So even in the times, look, 8 hours sleep, which they say, 8 hours being awake, and then 8 hours in flow. It doesn't just have to be meditation. In the flow, I'm learning, I'm exercising, I'm resting, I'm meditating. I can do 8 hours sleep. 8 also then represents my mind and body. My mind at the top part of the 8. This is my thoughts. And the bottom part of the 8 is my feelings. In the middle of the 8, it's my heart center, my soul. My feelings are always in the middle. I turn an 8 on its side. My present moment, the feelings in the middle. My past, I go back. I always then bring it back to my feelings, and then I can go out in front. The infinity sign. So 8 has symbology too. So 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours. And that's the human experience. Do it in those 3, body, mind, soul. So it's quite a lot that I've shared on here, but I'm hoping if you really look at this now, it's all quite a simple blueprint because it's awareness. As long as we become aware of it, then we can, in our own time, in our own experience, we can then ask the questions. Oh, okay, that now makes sense. So you have to come down into your temple to come back up. When you come down, you've got less things to focus on. So you can get good at what you're focusing on and then come back up. You can only come back up above that certain part then is when you're in that heart space. Because to get back up at this point now, this is a different dimension. It's a different reality. We need creation. You're not going to be able to survive otherwise. The mind is not prepared for it. So another thing that I encourage you to even take on, look how much information you've now consumed in the last 2 years, 3 years. What is information? Think about it, really. Where is it? So from a human experience, we say it's in the brain. It's not there. It's not like you've got filing cabinets in your brain and then we cut your brain open and it's bigger because you've learnt more. Although the brain does change, the taxi drivers got bigger brains because they have to use it a lot more. It's thinking, it's still a muscle. So where is that? Oh, let me say the word Paris. Let me say the word dog. Let me say the word dolphin. What pops up? Where pops up? Who pops up? Something popped up straight away. Did you go into your mind to work that out? Or, oh, it's a collective thought. It's in the atmosphere. It's in the ether. You just went and got it. It's very simple all of a sudden. We can get it in a flash. And if there's so much space to get it, we then start expanding on that space. Hence the internet. We now get things now. Actually, that was the last thing I wanted to show you, the envelope. And a great way to remember everything now, people. So again, on the Freemasons, it's the envelope. And again, I didn't really know that what it meant, but this is all about mail. We're sending stuff to ourselves. We send a letter and we can simplify it all. So do it from mind, body, soul again. If we look at the body, the mind, and then I'm going to get an envelope up here. And can you see why people get really angry about Freemasons when I talk about them? Freemasons is just an enlightened master. Free man. Free my son. Freemason is there. People there to free God's children. So, envelope. We do this on this page. Okay, thank you, people. So this is a great way of learning as well. So this is because when we have these experiences, we have these feelings, we try to put them into words. When we try to put them into words, there can be often a lot of confusion. So let's then say, and this is going to be healing, and this is one of the parts to the course as well, is to be able to go back past traumas, events in your life, moments, defining moments. So let's say this human experience, we're going to go back for mastery now, and the human experience about the feelings. Can you go back to a moment where you saw rage? I just want you to think about it, just the moment you saw rage, and I want to just see if you can take your attention to how was you feeling in the body. Don't try to explain it too much, but what's the feeling? Like I can tell you mine when I had these moments of it was like I wanted to cry, I was angry, I wanted to shout, I was pissed off that I didn't say what I needed to say. I'm staring at myself in the mirror, my head's like pulsating, and my eye, I lost it. I really lost it. And what tends to happen is we go back to that moment and we go straight to the feelings first in the body. Remember, the body's not the truth, it's the soul. So let's do this as an education way. This is how you go back. So again, we do it in the meditation. We go straight to the soul, so there's no judgment. Meditation. This is how we heal. Easy. So anyone got any labels, you do it all. So again, it's a label. So let's say hate, rage, fear. It was one of those moments. So I want you to try to first of all remember the feelings in the body. And what are the feelings? Like, what was that feeling? Where was it? And now, because you're looking back at it, I want you to try to come up with some words that you would describe. You don't have to go into it now, you're observing it. Imagine you're looking at the body now and you can see, right, there was a tightness in my chest. There was this. I want you to describe some of the words that were coming up for you in that moment. So there's no sense that you're just describing it. We don't want to add the meaning or anything. Just so it'd be like, I experience at the time I had panic. I had embarrassment. Embarrassed mind. I had worry. Oh. Copy. And the more you sit with it, some of these other words will start coming out. I had spite. I felt mistreated, betrayed. Let me just get on just a few words so it makes more sense. So I have all these words, but from a feeling inside the body, from the soul, it's one or the other. It's a good feeling, at ease, or it's a disruption. So at the moment, I'm trying to make sense of all these different feelings. My true fear is this one or the other. Okay, my true fear is this hate, rage, and fear. So I get all this. I get all this. And I don't need to make sense of it. These are just the words. I've attached the words to the feelings. Right now, you stick it all in here. Stick it all in the envelope because it all falls under that one moment. Because you've had embarrassment other times, but you laughed about it. You had worry a few times, but you were being silly. You had a panic, you lost your keys, you found them again. So the words we've used many times, but this significantly was for that moment. So I stick it in the envelope. So what is my truth? During my story, in my past, I had this moment where I had all these feelings, and these are all the words. Right. It's all packaged up for you now. I now have a choice. I can save that and take some teaching whenever I want. I'm going to come back to it. Or the way that I was describing this last time, I said spite, but it wasn't spite. The next time I revisit it, it was actually sadness. I was just really confused. I've got perspective now. I've got a bit more understanding. I just weren't aware. I was unconscious. So my message in my letter is different about my experience. But where are the feelings now, people? Look, the words are outside of my body. They're not in my body anymore. My body's quite calm at the moment because I'm creating this old story that I used to tell myself, but I'm rewriting it. Look. And each time I come back, I pack it up even more. To the point where I'm like, whoa, I learned so much about that. So this envelope, I stick it all in there first. Have the experience, let it ride out, have the sadness, go back, pull the words out of the body first. And this is the bit where you face it. You just sit there and you say one word, then another, and you dig a bit, but why was that? What was the reason? And sometimes you get your answer straight away. It's like, oh, that was it. That was it. It was recognition. I never felt appreciated. I never got my voice. And then instead of outside yourself, then it's like, whoa, but I never actually once told him how I feel. I never even stopped and spoke up. I let it continue. I kept saying yes for the sake of it. I knew it was wrong. And then you've got, again, levels, you're going down again, working out what did I learn? Well, I got resilience. I got that feeling as an emotion. I got a good memory, and I had a funny story actually come out from it. How many bad moments have you had in your life where it was terrible, but something still happened on the day and you got to laugh about it? Like, it was terrible at the time, but you got to laugh about it. In that moment, I farted. It changes it when you go back. So we then, look, we're observing. And you keep doing it to the point where it becomes just a part of your story, a chapter in your book, a defining moment, a big teaching to pass on to your loved ones. Look, this was one of the worst parts of my life. I was manic depressed. I had ADHD. I couldn't even sleep. I wasn't training. I was eating bad, all these things. But look what I learned from it. I've packaged it up. I've sent a mail. I passed this. And what is it, people? That's your experience. That's your uniqueness. That's your gift that is created by you, which in God's time could land in someone else's hands and completely change the whole direction of their life. And if you look at where I say that Freemasons are controlling everything from the good point to be God's message, Gmail, letter, mean. Look, they leave the clues in plain sight. So at every step of the way, people, at every step of the way, we're leaving the clues in plain sight. We're telling the story. We're taking our time. We're putting the systems in place. We go down, we come up, we go down. We see the evil. We see them in the tunnels. We see them in the dark, and we draw them out. We create the environment. We change the maps. We tell the stories from a perspective. We're telling you what you need to know in 3D. It makes sense for you. There's logic behind it. You can back it up. That's the truth in your reality. But one for more, it's not the full truth, though. It's only from your perspective. You're being negative. You're repeating someone else's words. You're not being authentic. You're quite aggressive. You're quite preachy. So from 4D, I know it's not a truth. From their thing, they're in their truth. So my perspective, I'm looking down now. I don't need to go down into that one. 5D, from the soul, it's got to be all-inclusive. It can't be talking about time. It can't be talking about measurements. It can't be telling you what not to do and what you didn't do and the reason why that didn't happen. That's 4D. Yeah, that's still 3D story. Positive only. Future facing only. A teaching going back. All in the words. So look, we're in full control of all this. All of this. It's God's creation. At the back end, you put all this in the hands of the evil people. Let them do their stuff. But we're watching. We're monitoring. We're hiding in the shadows. We're the secret society. We're the ones that are being able to give them the logos and the emblems and say, look, this is your secret. Fingerprint of God in God's hands. The most evil of evil stuff. They were glorifying it. They were celebrating it. They were trying to demonize it, but it was still in God's hands. The trans stuff that you're seeing, all the rainbow colors. If you're going to put any color in their hands, put God's rainbow. That's the gift from God. This full spectrum, all in that one flash. Or in that prism of light. Give them that one. Because when the truth comes round, we can accept God all the time, rainbow. Ukraine flag, we know that's Jesus's colours. That's Christ's colours. That's God's colours. You're protected. That temple, that darkness, that was protected. That star, that was protected. Higher perspective. Remember, creation, there's always something else to find. So I really want to encourage people, when you say this is what it means, my question in the back of your head, Harry would say, well, how do you know? Where have you got that from? If you've heard it from someone who made sense and it connected with your story, and at the moment, that's a great answer. But what happens is I ask questions out of curiosity, and sometimes I ask questions to kind of give them a bit of a soul slap. Look, you're preaching to me, but you can't back up any of it. But I'm asking, not rude, but knowing that they got to come back and it's their response. If they respond, any trigger anger, some woman lost her lid at me the other day. You think this, you're a soul coach, and you do all said everything. I asked her a question, a simple question, not aggressive or anything. And I was like, and all I did then was point out her reaction. Look at your reaction. And you believe that Tom Hanks is this and that, and it went off and all this one. I'm like, whoa, mind gone. Again, I don't need to go into that. Up the pyramid, I'm watching her scream up. I don't need to go there anymore. And by the time we come back down in quantum, I'm thinking about it and I'm already there. And like I showed on the mail Masonic envelope, going back in time. So again, I say Israel was at the start. And as we work down, we start learning about all the different cultures, and we're then getting a sense of this human experience. But we wasn't connected. We didn't have the technology or anything back then. I can't remember what I was going to say to that point. Oh, yeah. So if I'm explaining something to you from the story of Jesus, the enlightened ones at the start, the disciples, the original Son of God, that might have been the true case. The enlightened one at that point, the teacher, the share all things, and again, the one that got absolutely ridiculed and in the end killed. If Jesus was trying to explain speed, and you were saying God works in this speed, and he's trying to explain it in the limited percent, they have to write on a book in words. Try to go back to that time and try to say that something flashed by you at the speed of light. It was like the speed of an email. Me pressing send and it's there with you already. How can you get close to that description if you haven't had email? With his, oh, it's a bird flew past, so or the bird didn't fly past if you didn't see it. It was a spaceship in the sky. Well, you didn't have spaceships back then. It was a sat. You didn't have that then, so you have nothing to explain it. So that's the same as me explaining all these things. To go further down, I have to have an experience. I have to try to bring it back to 3D to put it into words. I have to try to put it back into logic, yes or no. I have to try to put, okay, it feels right. It aligns nicely. It rings true. Can you see it's levels to it? So that was the story back then, and the only way that they could do it in the best way was through paintings back in the day. Then they found a way of writing, and they just wrote all these books. And again, that's not just Christians, that's it. And then they had to get around, spread the message of truth. Because if that was the game plan, then the people trying to follow, we need to intercept this. We need to get to churches. We need to change the story. We need to edit the books. We need to give it a different meaning. So you can see, you have to then see that people are corrupting, right? We need to go back to the game plan. How else are we going to do it? What else are we going to do? And this is where Harry Truman come in. And I even saw Harry Truman set up NATO. NATO, you tell the evil people, look, you're going to make money from all these countries. We're going to tie it all together. But NATO also gave the authority for the US military to go into those countries and protect. And look, we're going to take money from the military. We're going to do it. Gave them a base there, though. Harry Truman. So it goes back to that. Harry Truman recognized Israel 11 minutes after it was created. They got the dome protecting Israel. Why do you think it's the closest source to God from the physical? So we're protecting that. Don't worry about the Israelis and the Zionists and all the people that, imagine if you're evil and you live there your whole life. And in the end, you get so good at being evil, you just blend in. But their still mission is to defeat God, and they do it in any way. What is God now? Creation, the world, the land, the earth. That's why Truman at the bottom of Antarctic went on all these expeditions at the war, and we haven't gone down any further. Because I feel like the more we go down, the more we get exposed to what is down there. But we wasn't ready to go down there, so he's contained us in. We're now working this magic. We're now connecting more. We're now making sense. We're now removing evil, and we bring in the love. Love always wins, and the next step is a new life. A new experience, a new chance of experiences consciously through creation, through the soul. It's magic, people. It's magic. So this is why I say to people, you can agree with all these different things. You're looking at things on the internet. You're watching your stuff on your phone. You're now driving your car. You're on a fast speed train. You've got the fanciest gadgets in the world, but yet you're holding on to the full truth in the Bible. Yet all the things that I've just said then, that is the truth too. You're having that experience now in real time. And I've realized the journey of the soul, we're like, oh, technology and AI and the advancements of transhumanism and stuff. If we don't look at it from being transhuman and we're going from human to trans, we look at it through the soul. And there's certain things we can't see with a naked eye, but a bit of technology would help us see. Okay, whoa, we're capable of seeing a lot more. I now understand that the 5D art concept where you create art in 5 dimensions. I wish now I can find a way that I can start putting my words into animation. and into the point where it is a 4-dimensional, because I see it, I just don't have the way of communicating with it. And then if you've never had the experience, my words don't make any sense to you. If we can go into that gap straight away and put all that into it, that's a different reality to it. But that's the soul level down, not the human levels down. There'll be a point, and this is the beauty of it. We get a choice every time we die. Actually, I want to come back and live the human experience. And this is what I want to do this time, because I now have all this knowledge. The soul doesn't change, but we get stuck at 3D and it goes again. And it goes again. And we try to get the right environment based on our experience this time. People that have done evil and continue to do evil have now woken up and seen God is real. These people are showing me that the whole time. They treated me the same all the way through. They come back next time not needing to fight. They got more awareness now. They got a choice from day one. They've got a world that they're coming into. It's actually more protected. It's more advanced. It's more educated. Can you see, like, there's a whole journey. So we're going down with God, and God's more empowered now because God has all of his creation working for him for a better understanding. We're diving into our body. We're connecting with the conscious mind. We're learning about AI and artificial intelligence based on us. We're learning about quantum technology, and it's in this way that we can start looking at light and time travel and predictability. We couldn't do that a few years ago. And if you went too far down, you know, when you go too far out, you go off planet, it's too much. You lose a sense of oxygen. You can't breathe. You go to the depths of the ocean. You can't go any lower. It's what the humans are capable of at the moment. But all this new sensory and all these upgrades and stuff, soon people are going to be doing stuff that we didn't even think was possible. Again, it's a patience. You come up, you go down. We learn, you take meaning. A great way to look at your life is like the way that they developed the car. Someone moaned at me the other day. I was like, oh, it's just a theory. Wait, make sure you get it all right first before you present. All right, listen to what you just said. So we look at the car that was made in 1915. And now look at the car. The car had to be made first. You have the experience. What happens is you're met with problems. You're met with resistance. You set up a company, you get going, but certain things don't work. You make adjustments. You start on Photoshop. You start your learning process. You make loads of mistakes. And then you find a quick little fix, and then it's changing. You have to go and create. So I'm going to keep putting it out. And as I put it out, I'm going to go back and try and make more sense of it to a point where it becomes a more of a blueprint. I can put it into a format that then can be there. So this, I've got loads for this. Simple. So it's 18 sections. So you go down to the 5 dimensions. Then you go up for the 4 sides, which is 12. And then there's one that finishes in a whole completeness as the quantum. So I'm going to put that out the end of the month. Again, it'd be like the Soul Revive. Yeah, each one will just be a focus on each one of those points and each one of those sides. And you're going to see there's loads that we can tie in. And remember, people, as I'm teaching, I'm learning and evolving all the time as well. I'm now looking at life in 4D. I'm now thinking, so in 3D, rather than just seeing it in 3D, I'm now asking the questions, or I spend a bit more time looking at it, or I go on my own to get a Google search just to confirm it. 4D, then I dive a bit deeper into it. Okay, how does this affect other people? What happens if I look through the evil's perspective? What happens if I look through God's perspective and the military perspective? I'm changing it all. The thing's exactly the same, but it's layering. And that's where the game of chess comes in. Game of chess now, I've realized as well, you know, there's ones that jump over. Well, look at the game of chess, but in levels. When it's like 7D chess, they're looking down. So Israel's intelligence, Mossad, for years, they had the best vantage point. They could see anyone coming up at them. In the olden days, they would have all that already. So it's the same with all this. You get above the high, look down from God's perspective. So see what you can do is work your way up first. What are the levels? What does the levels consist of to you? Make sense of that first. Enjoy the process and simplify it all. Fundamentally, it has to come down to ego or soul. It has to feel right. And then you can work on that creation aspect, which is from the heart space. Meditation, gateway, bypasses, dimensions. You ask questions in that. You become the student and the teacher. You become the observer and the experiencer. It's magic, people, real magic. So, red face, clenched fist. Yeah. Hi, Amanda. I've had your levels concept on my mind all day. Would love a visual from you to help understand it. I'm fascinated so far. I did a visual earlier on this, and I've tried to put as much as I can onto the visuals going down. Thank you, Deborah. Harry on fire, love and light. That fire's that burning desire in my belly. That's the rise of the phoenix. Phoenix. For me, it's the golden land too. There's certain parts of the Grand Canyon out in Phoenix, in Arizona. They don't let anyone go there. The closest land and all the gold we find around the world is the ones higher up to the sun. So again, on the maps and the creation, we could have found Australia a bit later on, but it's still high up. So you can imagine there would have been craters of frozen bit, but in the middle, yeah. Again, I'm trying to look at it from going down, like a cup of tea. We're all at sea level. You got a bit of Israel. You got Egypt. No wonder they were good at the stars. They had no other distractions. It's all there in front of them. They're connected to God, so they're asking, getting their answers straight away. And it comes down again. So it goes from dark to light, from light to dark. And I feel like as we're going down, before the ice gets melted and the oceans and stuff creating space, there had to be underground tunnels. People would live underground. Then you got all the underground tunnels, how they move. You got all the indigenous cultures and plant medicine. I've realized, like Mexico, Central America, Brazil with ayahuasca. It does that fast track. So I can imagine bottom of the triangle, you have explosion. It just sends you straight to projection into what is capable, and people go and chase that high. But yeah, if you just bring it to the feelings, we can have the same feelings of all of them. It's just the mind-blowing part, the bit that can't be put into words, but also gives you the excitement of where we can take it. So I'm hoping you got a lot out of that one. But bring it back to the meditation, people. This is what I called it: meditation on the layers of the soul. Meditation, all of this makes a lot more sense. All this, you're feeling it, or all this in this place, your body's fully healing. You're creating, you're imagining, you're decision making. You're calm, you're clear. You're concise, you're confident. All of these choices all take place in the meditation. And for people watching as well, in all those experiences, when have you ever got angry in the meditation? Like real anger or frustration, or that, when has that ever happened? So that just shows you that is your truth in there, because you don't choose to be that in your natural state. It's only then when we're waking up or someone walks in and we get frustrated and our mind takes over. Again, the mind is in the way. Ego. Simple stuff. So we've got so much to learn, and it's going to be easier because the environment is going to be cleared for us. The creation is going to, with the science, so even that, trust the science, trust the science. The people say the words, but they're not taking the meaning. The science is being done, and this needs to be presented to us. So yeah, it's going to be trust the science soon. Spiritual science, monitoring our creation, and then finding solutions. There's loads that we can look at that it keeps evolving. Any sort of skiing or even the martial arts. When it first came out, UFC, it was like a bloodbath. They didn't even have gloves on and stuff. But over the years, they've mastered it to a point where it's now one of the most enjoyable things to watch when it comes to martial arts. And then watching the skill on people in flow and combining all of God's gifts of defending yourself. And then on top of that, you have the acting and everything. There's different layers to everything. So anytime you get any resistance, you get stuck, you get stressed, you've seen the levels now. You're holding on to a level. You're holding on to a story, a narrative, a pastime, a future worry. You're holding on. So go work you back up to what's your truth? It's easy. It's easy. And I say it's easy laughing now because it is. Am I doing it on all my occasions? No, but I'm going back. So here's one for me. The way that my mind works now in 4D. So 3D, I had it flashed up in one of my things today, and it was like how I think about my past life now and different things. And when I had my opinion on it before in the 3D, there was limitations there. So, for example, I had a jaw operation in 2013. And when people ask, oh, you had a jaw operation, why did you get it done? I say cosmetic. I wanted to change the way that my face was looking. And I had that. I was like, wow. And there was a moment that come up, and all this was an insight that come up for me today. There's a moment when we were in the car. It was me and two mates, and they were bitching about some girl that had her lips done. Bitching. And we all stopped and we realized I've had my jaw done. One of my mates had a nose job. And one of my mates had his hairline done. So we all started laughing, going, look at us judging on that sort of thing. And one of the things that I, looking back on that experience, so I could say I got my jaw done for cosmetic. That was the soul. That was the truth. But the meaning behind it, I went through braces as a kid. My teeth grew back bent. When I first started my company, I had a good looking business partner. Every time we went anywhere, meetings, dinner, out, club, everyone would just flock to him. I got insecure. I remember when I used to laugh. I used to put my hand on him. I then wanted the Invisalign braces. But this is a whole process for years. And then my mum being my mum, no, you don't need to change. Look fine as you are and stuff. I was like, I don't like this at all. I'm going to get behind the braces. I then had meetings with a few orthodontists, and I'm going through this in my head today. Like, look at all the different layers that I'm going to. Where the first bit was, God, I did that out of being vain. I changed something I didn't like. But now I'm going back. We've advanced. So that technology is available. God's a creation. But it's my reasonings. And I was going through it all. Like, I had to still work at that. The money I paid, again, that's mine. But that was my commitment. I had to stand on it too. Because I met orthodontists. They said, no, you can't have the behind brace. You have to have normal ones. 2013 was my jaw operation. But before that, I had to then work out what the plan was. So orthodontist said no. I remember phoning my mum crying. I really wanted them done. And she goes, you're fine, you'll be all right. And I looked and I met a jaw surgeon, Professor Hares. I remember him. I had one conversation with him. I was like, I want my jaw done. He showed me what he's done. He showed me how he's done it. He showed me his results. And it was, and then it showed me the 4D aspect, how it changed people's lives. So now I've got that as a truth. I'm excited. I said to my mum, this is what I want. Mum said, no, I can't help you. I'm not doing that. You're not changing your face. My mum then had one conversation with a loved one, like a friend or family. They said, oh, my friend's 2 kids both had that done. Best decision they ever made. She went, really? Yeah, best decision. Their whole lives had changed. So remember, look at the layers. The 2D and the 1D is the 1D is change of face. 2D is, but there's a choice to be made. 3, now the feelings. Now you don't need that. The meaning behind it. 4, though, was the heart and the feelings. Yeah, they felt amazing. The best decision they made. I got my jaw done. But even then, I had to have braces for 2 years. I then had the jaw operation, which was a time out my business, like all the recovery and stuff. So there was a lot of work that went into that. So today I'm going through all these different layers and I've come out with my truth. It's like, well, that was a really big part. And what is a teaching and a meaning? I chose to do that to make me feel better. And I can go back going, yeah, I actually did. Like, it was one of the best decisions I made at the time. It was a jaw operation of a car. My smile now, I'm smiling all the time. That would never happen when I was younger. Hand over my mouth all the time, just timid because of my smile. So I thought, right, that technology is there. A lot of people said, oh, it was cosmetic. So when we were bitching and moaning, I feel like what we were doing, we were looking at it from the reasons why. And it was a quick decision. It was based on previous decisions being made. We're judging from that perspective, We all can defend our reasons why we was. If anyone said why you get it done, it made me feel better. Best decision I've ever made. Doesn't matter what else they think. Then I felt better. I'm happier. I look back and I'm like, I'm proud of that. Can you see where it's our story? It's our light. So when we make decisions for anything, people, if you do it for yourself and you can promise yourself that you've gone through the awareness, you've got the understanding, you've looked at the different options, you've spoken, you've done the research, you've learned a bit more along the way, like all that. And then you make a more informed choice decision. So anything, dating, do we have to rush? Even though you had that spark, you had a soul connection, you felt love, you go to a dancing night and then you fall in love with the dancer. What really did you fall in love with? You fell in love with being present in that moment. You fell in love with watching someone in passion, in flow, doing something they're amazing at. And you shared that space and was just caught in awe. And people run off with their dancers and a few months later, they realize that's not the same person. You meet the soul. You go traveling. You have these holiday romances. Why? Because you meet the soul. Didn't have to worry about where they're from and what they're doing. You met the soul. And then you meet them again. You're like, whoa, that weren't the person I met. Mind. And the person you met, they're thinking, right, how am I impressing now? What can I do to show off what my story can talk about? Ego, ego, ego. So I use it for everything going back. And to start with, if you're not thinking on that way or not asking all those questions, that can sound quite a lot. Yet when you do these meditations and you're asking questions within, you're doing it already. And you start finding out that because you're doing it from thought, which is quicker than the physical, and the speed of light, you get so much more done. So it's almost now, I'm now viewing my body. So where I am in my location, the stage that I am in my life, and all the different mind that I want to be here. And sorry, people. Thank you, Nikki. So pretty much just saying, I don't know what bit you got up to. But just to say, look how simple we can make our life. And look how much more we can start enhancing on what we got already with more awareness. And the more we can... Still no sound? Can you hear me now? I'm hoping you can hear me now. Yeah, let me know if the noise comes through. No sound still. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. You can hear me. It must be a delay in the YouTube. Yeah, so I'm not too sure where else I can go with this today, because I've kind of lost my train of thought then. Just oh yeah, so just on a little thing when I was saying you can now start viewing life from the 5D as the soul. So as the soul, how does this help me? How will this help us? How will this help you? What did I learn about this? How can I go back and take a better understanding, take a deeper truth? How can I use this now to really make a decision going forward? Because going forward is just now deciding what I do at this moment. So all of these different things, we can simplify everything and you get an expert at it. And it's almost like all the skills possible for life. As soon as you start getting it, right, that's one, I've got that bit. I like that bit. I'm going to do that a lot, but now I can use that for other things. So I said about going down the stairs. The next time you go down the stairs, if it's a daily pattern, each day, just set a little different intention. Right, I'm going down the stairs today. I'm just focusing on my breathing. I'm just going to notice what happens on the next day. I'm going to down the stairs. I'm going to notice the noise that my feet make when it hits the ground. God, I'm really noisy. Okay, the next day I'm going to go quieter and notice the difference. It's awareness within the same task, but you're just adding more depth to the point where you have your own knowings. So everything that you're learning now, see if you can bring it within. Like, what are you learning? How has this helped you with a previous experience? What take like the personal aspect from it. Well, I'm not enjoying this movie, yeah, because it's a movie, but you can take the good bits from it. It's the teachings for me that I look for now. And for me, I have a reason to use everything. How can I share this with other people to help them on their spiritual journey? How can I use this for a YouTube live? How can I use this to create a meditation with this concept? And it's great now because certain things I feel there's a lot of overwhelming stuff. And my focus now is to see if I can really simplify this into a meditative state first as the soul, as the illuminated soul and the beginning soul. And then in the middle and stuff, we then start creating there. So yeah, there's loads that we can go with this. And again, it all fits into the model. Start from the soul, go down to the mind, the choice, then go into the body, mind, and soul, the human experience. Focus on your feelings. Then bring awareness to the 3-part being. Bring awareness to the sleep, the creation, the awakened state, the meditations. See if you are getting the experience. Are you creating from the mind? Are you remembering in those moments? It's brilliant when you start having it, and it comes naturally after a while. Remember, your body's so intelligent. Well, I've got this now. Okay, it makes sense. Thank you, my child minder. As your soul's coming down into the body, your mind's looking after you. Right. 3:30. 33. So people, I'm going to shoot, sending you lots of love, lots of gratitude, and a big, big thank you. Anyone watching the recording on this, please leave your comments in here. And if you didn't understand, please share. Any moaning? I know you haven't watched this part. You haven't watched this part. So any moaning, normally you get met back response, or you get blocked and deleted. So a lot of people don't see it or now. I treat this as my back garden. This is my space. So any rubbish that comes on it and I don't want it there, I can just remove it now. And that's what it's an extension of us. I keep it positive, and then I encourage people, feel confident enough to share, and insights, come back to it. That's how we all learn as well. Remember, when we're the soul from that heart space, we're speaking from the heart. It's our feelings. No one can take them away from you. So everyone, I will see you all very